Thank you, Prince. Well, you already have a partnership there.
Yes.
So can you
yes.
react? So go to Lagos and come back here.
Now to
Yes.
attend to. Now, yeah, to respond to one of his concerns, government is serious and committed to addressing the issue of gas flaring in the oil and gas sector. And to make him understand that there is a governance structure of the Nigerian gas flare commercialization program. And that is why this program is directly under the office of His Excellency, the Honorable Minister of State, Chief Timothy Silva. So he oversees this program, and it is part of his priority area as number 3 to address this issue in line with Mr. President's commitment at COP21 in the United Nations Framework Climate Change Convention, where he agreed to reduce gas flaring. I heard Mr. Balame talked about policy and policy implementation. Yes, indeed. One of the bane of this country's problem is implementation of policies. We have laudable and amazing, wonderful policies. And so if you look at what Mr. President did, when he made that commitment at COP21, he came down to Nigeria and ratified that commitment and even went ahead to approve the national gas policy. Now, very many people, I'm speaking to the audience that haven't read the national gas policy. You Google it online, and if you go to Chapter 6, Section 6.4, from page 60 to 64, it specifically talked about what government is planning to do regarding gas flare commercialization, and which is why government said they will work collaboratively with the industry, with technology providers, with flare capture provider and third-party investors and financiers to make sure that this issue is addressed once and for all. Beyond that, apart from policy, Mr. President now, through the highest decision-making body, which is the Federal Executive Council, approved the Nigerian gas flare commercialization program to underpin government's policies that this is real business. And so this is what the NGFCP is all about. Now, to cap it all, to make sure that the NGFCP does not just back, but if it backs, it can bite, Mr. President approved the gas flare commercialization regulations. And what that regulation does is that it changed the game of what has been happening over the years. It warped into line the producers. It increases the flare penalty from 0.03 cents to $2 for those producing more than 10,000 barrels of crude oil per day, and 50 cents for those producing less than 10,000 of crude oil per day. And in that regulation, Mr. President said any oil company that did not give us accurate gas flare data, you will pay a fine or you go to jail or both. Now, why is that? We need investment-grade data to give to these third parties we're bringing in to get it so that they can take it to the banks. That's to try to reduce some form of uncertainties Mr. Samima talked about, and try to do some form of de-risking. So when we sat down during the design of this program, for once, a family of 3 sat down to say, let us look at this. Why is this problem on and on? So the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, and the Department of Petroleum sat down to say, we must address this hydra-headed monster once and for all. So they looked at the institutional memory and said, oh, we need to give a teeth to this initiative. And so the regulation came in. So they looked at it from a commercial, from a legal, from a technical, even from a developmental standpoint to say, what will make this program fail? So we hear a lot of pundits say this program will fail. It's one of federal government initiatives that have failed. This program will not fail. And I'll tell you why. When we did the design in line with the support of our development partners. UK's David Foster, represented by Mr. Charles here, we used their gas flare tracker to have an overview of the gas flare situation. And then the Department of Petroleum Resources, working with the World Bank, came up with a template that we designed, and at the end of the day, we found out, as opposed to 140 flare sites, we have 178 gas flare sites in this country. And then we've now moved beyond that to now say, okay, so let's begin to progress this. So the USAID now gave us the technical partners in terms of financial and technical support through the Power Africa project to design the transactional and commercial structure, where we will now give competent third parties that have the wherewithal to come and play in this space. So all of these issues were looked at. Now, there is one other thing to address Samima's concern, and of course the other callers. We know that projects have issues. Now, all over the world, in terms of project design and project implementation, we found out that 78% of projects fail as a result of stakeholder, strictly related to community stakeholders. So what we did with this design, yes. So host communities, yes, host communities. I know where you're coming from. So now what we now did is that as part of the design, we said every project coming under the NGFCP will contribute a community development fund for the host communities. And this fund will be managed by what we call a management committee that will comprise of the communities and the project, and then there will be a government entity that will be administering the gas sales agreement, in this case the Nigerian Gas Marketing Company, to sit as an observer in that committee. Now, why are we doing this? We're trying to co-create, co-own, and of course, co-progress this program with the community and the projects, so that what Charles talked about, those conflict entrepreneurs will not have a say. So the project will succeed and the gas flow will be reduced, that will implement generation. Now, let me let you know again that with this NGFCP, we're going to unlock around 600,000 metric tons of liquefied petroleum gas, which will give 6 million households clean energy, the closest ally to renewables.
Let me hold you there.
Please.